Thank the light, everyone. I am your novice for the evening, and this is my wolf brother,
Patty the chef, or the parched eelman on the bird app. It's gonna get weird again, guys. I'm tired.
and we're recording early today too, guys, and he's still gonna get weird.
Yeah, look, it's light out behind me.
I know, that's crazy. That was the first thing I noticed. We only record like an hour from now. The sun goes down fast in the Northwest.
Yeah, especially here because we got these trees, so we get cut off a little bit early. So it'll be real nice when it's fucking like 90 in the summer. I'll be like, "Ooh, sorry guys."
I'm recording outside. Welcome to our Wheel of Time podcast. We are your true source, the purest light, your companion cast, a warder, if you will, for your journey through all things Wheel of Time.
It's our journey. We're all together in this.
And journey. Actually, it's not. It is not. I mean, I guess we are having. There's so many journeys in this fucking story.
Is it that journey? This journey?
That journey? What journey? So is there like by the end of the 15 books, does our main cast at some point do all the couples get put together for a journey? Like, does Rand have half a book with no one but Gwyn and half a book with no one but Perrin, and Perrin spends a summer with Nynaeve, or do they kind of get split up at some point and those are their groups for the rest of the story?
Yeah, no, let's not get into that. No, it's a lot of back and forth. There are some times when Lan and Nynaeve are together, but Moraine's still around, so they're not together, at least book-wise. I'm thinking that they might snap that fucking connection pretty quick in the TV show. With Moraine possibly being cut off from the source already, it could affect her bond with Lan, and I think they may have done that so that they can show how the bond is severed, because what really happens in the books is Moraine has it set up like a weave. If she dies, that Lan, instead of feeling her die and going warder crazy, the bond is immediately passed to another Aes Sedai, which hasn't been done in a long time. It's almost like it's looked at like you're giving away like a slave, but it's a person who's not a slave. It's very Land is very offended. He's like, who are you gonna pass my bond to? Like I'm some just piece of meat or something. He's really offended. He's like, we've been together for a long time. It's like, come on, dude. She's trying to set it up so she can pass your bond to Nynaeve, but she might not be a full sister when she dies. So she can't have a warder unless she's a full sister. And so Moraine actually is trying to do something for both of them. And so eventually, but then they're together, but then they separate too, because Lan kind of goes on his own journey to the Borderlands. And it's one of those, he's riding to the Borderlands and they're like, I know you. And then people just start joining him, and he's like, nope, I'm just going to go die. And they're like, no way, bro. Last battle. Woo.
Yeehaw.
And so, he ends up basically taking control of all the Borderland armies. And Lan's a bad fucking dude. He's a close, as far as a person who doesn't channel, it's like Matt, Perrin, Lan's a close third. He doesn't get enough billing in the book because he doesn't get enough POV chapters like Matt and Perrin do to really show how fucking truly badass he is.
How many, without getting too in the weeds, how many last battles do we have? Do they have big battles and they think this was the last battle? And then it's like, no.
Rand thinks that the last battle happens a couple of times. He's like, woo, I did it. And they're like, no.
That's true, because he probably thinks he just had one at the end of
Eye of the World. He's like, I killed the
He
starts naming the Dark One, which is it's supposed to bring bad luck upon you. And he's like, I killed him, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, you're a fool, Rand al'Thor. The whole nothing, Jon Snow, is a direct thievery from the Aiel. Aviendha always tells Rand, you know nothing, Rand al'Thor.
Yes,
that's right. I said it. George R.R. Martin is a plagiarizing. What? Cut that. Never mind.
George R.R. Martin and George Lucas have tea together. Have you seen the new Dune?
No.
Or have you read Dune?
Lisa was telling me about Dune. I really don't know shit about Dune except the spice.
You should watch the. I mean, the movie's great, and I think it's going to be a good. They're going to give it the time it needs, but George Lucas just took half of what he wanted from Dune. It's pretty gnarly. It's
Let
pretty
me
gnarly.
apologize to anyone who actually listens that my laugh sounds like a cat being strangled or something right now. Because
Did you get the? You didn't get the vid, did you? You just got.
no, I think it's allergies actually, dude. It's just so much pollen right now. It's just nightmarish, but it's getting
Perfect for a cannabis tender.
better. Yeah. Hey guys,
Hey, here, smell this.
smoke this stuff. It's good for you.
As usual, folks, Justin has brought another fantastic clip to launch this conversation. I'm still like, are you purposefully keeping us in the first 3 books, or is that just where so many seeds get laid that it's a good place to start for any character?
I would like to say that, yeah, that was my plan the whole time. It was more like, I don't want to get too far ahead. I want to stay in your like purview of things that maybe you're coming across, or someone who's a new reader or a new watcher of the show comes across that are kind of like, I don't get it 100%. So it started off as like, I just want to stay. I'm re-listening to the books as I'm going for fodder, things I come across. I'm driving. I'm like, ooh, note, boom. That wasn't my plan originally, but once we got into like 3 or 4 of them, I was like, okay, I know where I want to go with this. So yes, the long answer is yes. It didn't start that way, but as I got into a couple, I'm like, okay, I'm trying to focus on the things that I think will come up in, at least the second season or the third season. I don't think that we'll get too far. I really feel like the first 2.5 seasons are 3 books. I think you have to obviously I'm not the showrunner. They can do whatever the fuck they want. But if it were me, seeing how their pace is, that's how I would roll. They're going to roll into like season 3 at the end of book 3 and start laying groundwork for the next 3 or 4 books over like 1.5 seasons. I feel like they're covering like three books in like a season and 3/4. I mean, and it may change because the other books slow down a lot, but these first ones have a lot to lay down. So I'm just, I'm just curious how they're going to break it up. But
it's fucking crazy. I haven't heard one word from 12 of the books, and I'm already so overwhelmed.
Yeah, well, it's like the night when you came up and we decided to do this whole fucking, crazy like journey. Is like I started talking to you about it and I watched your eyes kind of light up and then your eyes kind of roll back in your head and then kind of like, dude, we need to do a podcast about this, because it's like you got the knowledge, I'm interested, and what the fuck is going on?
And there is more than enough to talk about. Yeah, it's just I didn't slow down on the book, but like I was really cramming last week, and then so I didn't listen for a little while. And then because I crammed so hard, I kind of glossed over some stuff a little bit fast. So I spent yesterday re-listening to like 2 hours. So I'm not much farther ahead, but I understand. Like I'm moving into the end game of book 1. So I want to make sure I know what the fuck is going on.
Well, and I'm kind of trying to time like the next 3 or 4 episodes, that by the time that we hit, the Horn of Valyr episode, the traveling episode, the compulsion episode, that you're getting real close to the end, because a lot of that shit kind of matters right then, and it will help all that shit make more sense too.
Justin,
like, because Rand is doing some stuff and he's chasing Ishmael and he's in and out of this. It's like it's confusing, and you're like, wow, that was amazing. What happened exactly?
This all matters, Justin.
Dude, that's why they're such, I think they stand the test of time. They're such good books, is because you literally, I've read them so many times. I pick up new shit every time, even just talking about it afterwards. I'm like, last episode, I was like, oh my God, I just put these 2 tips together.
After 30 years.
Yeah, it only took me.
Oh.
I'm a problem solver.
Who wants me on their corporate team? Justin is going to play chapter 44 from The Great Hunt. 5 will ride forth.
This is a clip that's concerning the White Cloaks mostly, and how they look at the world. I don't want to say wrong, but not, it's a little, blinders type of thing, and you'll see what I'm talking about once we get into the clip.
This is crazy because you said this is like a 20-minute chapter. And this is one of the shortest entries on the wiki. So
Really?
yeah,
I think it's really important.
like the one. I mean, and I think it's one of those things too where it's easy to lay out in blueprint, but listening to them actually have all of their conversations is deep and involved.
I think a lot of it is people just hate the White Cloaks.
That's
They're dicks, and it's like, you know, they do stupid shit, and it's like, come on, man.
Trollocs are gross and White Cloaks are dicks.
Yeah, and like I said, man, we can cut this down. I may react to a few things as it's said, so that way maybe you can condense it a little bit if you want. So, and I might stop early. It's just when I feel like it's done being important, we'll stop. And just so you guys are setting up, this is at the end of the Great Hunt. You know, the Shan-Chan have invaded. The White Cloaks are there. There's a big battle going on. Perrin and Matt and Rand and if like Loyal, if there's a few other people, and they're kind of like rock in a hard place. They're caught between the two armies, more or less. And then, you know, we'll get into that clip on the next episode.
Anybody not paying attention, the Shan-Chan are the badasses who roll in on the wave at the end of season 1. At the like
surfing Hawaiians on a 40-foot wave. Eddie would go.
Yeah, Eddie would go.
Here we go. So Jeffrey Bornhalds is going to be he's the Lord Captain Commander of the Children of the Light. We meet him when they come across the Eamon's Fielders and Lannon Moraine and the White Cloaks on the first meeting. I believe he is the kind of like bearded, kind of white-haired guy. And then Eamon Valda comes up and was like, hey, I'm a questioner. I'm going to handle this, boss. And that lets you know a little bit about their rank too. Even though he's the Lord Captain Commander, the High Inquisitor of the Hand of the Light can be like, excuse me, sir, step aside. I'm going to need to talk to these people. And he's like, all right. So they have their own power of like kind of checks and balances too. And even the Children of the Light are a little bit afraid of the questioners.
Because I saw a little bit of that. Yeah, when Perrin and Egwene get captured in the book, like it's all about brother, the guy who eats the bloody chicken thing.
Eamon Valda.
Eamon, yeah, he's the main guy in the show, and the gray-haired guy is kind of next to him, but already in the book you can tell the gray-haired guy is the one really calling his shot.
He's not such a bad dude. He's just naive in his thinking. Like he actually tries to be honorable, but because of his kind of fucked up way of thinking, it makes him, he's like, well, I got to do this. And actually there's a character who ends up joining the Children of the Light. And I want to see if you can guess it.
Yes.
So tell me when you think it is. He's a main character for sure, without giving too much away. You've met him in a book clip. You haven't met him in the book yet. And just by the way he's described, you'll be like, that sounds like Children of the Light material. Fucker. How do I put this nicely? He's a fucking snitch. Okay, so here we go, man. And this is like kind of in the aftermath. They're kind of like regrouping in the battle. And I believe it's right before the horn is blown. So here we go.
Spirals across the chest under his cloak, and Matt wore a pair of baggy trousers that made bunches where they were stuffed into his boots. That had been all they had been able to find that would fit back in the abandoned village. Perrin wondered if this one would be abandoned soon. Half the stone houses were empty, and in front of the inn, up the dirt street from them, 3 ox carts, loaded too heavily, in great mounds, and everything covered with roped canvas, stood with families gathered around them. They were carefully avoiding looking at him and the others. These people had learned not to show curiosity about strangers, even strangers who were obviously not Shan-Chan. They had encountered the same studious indifference in other villages. At any rate, they had until the Shan-Chan came. I say it's time to get the horses, Matt said, before they decide to start asking questions.
So this is important because you see how fast people fell into line with the Shan-Chan. They showed up and they were just like, they used the power in battle. I said, I have never done that since the Age of Legends. Since the men went mad, that's part of the 3 O's. You will not make a weapon with the power. You will not use the power of a weapon except in defense of your own life or against shadow spawn. And it's like an oath that you cannot break because it's the oath rod. So and generally not against humans unless it's the last result to defend you or your warder, like the last resort.
Because like because when they have the battle where a bunch of Aes Sedai actually end up dying when they're trying to protect the false dragon, was that all in?
It's because they're being attacked. Like they're gonna die if they don't fight back, basically. And honestly, now that I'm looking back on it, I was so excited about that scene that that's not exactly true, because they would try to do stuff that was non-lethal first if they could, but it was a pretty ambush attack. They were definitely pretty much greatly outnumbered, so generally the warders do the killing, because one warder will take like fucking 20 dudes, but they were still outnumbered, so they had to channel two. It's like if they're dark friends, it's not as big of a deal for some reason, but it's like you can't stop them. Hey, you guys the Great Lord or the Light or what? Should we just talk? You want to get a beer?
Because they did put up basically a shield at first, but the shield got
right. That's true.
They got through it real fast.
Yeah, that's true. So I guess never mind. I lied. Anyways, we'll keep going.
These wolves had heard rumors, but they had not really believed there were two legs who could talk to their kind. He sweated through the minutes it took to get past introducing himself. He gave the image of young bull in spite of himself, and added his own smell, according to the custom among wolves. Wolves were great ones for formalities on first meetings, but finally he managed to get his question through. They really had no interest in any two legs who could not talk to them, but at last they...
Normally don't
After a time, images came back to him, what the wolves saw. White-cloaked men on horses crowding around the village, riding among the houses, riding around it, but none leaving, especially not westward.
Yet again, Perrin and the fucking White Cloaks. So he's had one in, like you're talking about with Egwene. Then he releases Gaul, kills some White Cloaks there. And I think there might be one other meeting with White Cloaks even before this, where he also has a little fucking row with them too. I don't know if he kills any, but this will be the second. I don't know if he kills White Cloaks. I think he battles. He may kill White Cloak inadvertently, but like there's a certain White Cloak that blames him for a certain other White Cloak's death. And so Perrin already had issues with the White Cloaks and the questioners. And then this guy is like, you killed my dad.
Perrin let go the contact with the wolves gratefully. He was aware of Huron and Matt looking at him. They aren't following, he said. Well, if they aren't coming after us, I say we go back to Ingtar and get on Fane's trail. That dagger isn't coming any closer just standing here. But keep a close lookout. We can't be too far from Falman now. It won't do any good to avoid the White Cloaks and ride right into a Shan-Chan patrol as they started out.
So I'm saying now they're kind of like fucking going between these two armies that are getting like just boiling like an anthill, getting ready to go attack each other.
The village is secured, my lord captain. Villagers in heavy sheepskin coats milled uneasily as white-cloaked soldiers herded them together near the overloaded carts in front of the inn. But he did not intend to risk alerting the Shan-Chan to his presence now. The Shan-Chan had grown used to facing already defeated rabble. The Children of the Light had been a deadly surprise. Yet the Shan-Chan knew how to fight like the Dark One's hordes, and he could not help remembering the one skirmish that had cost him better than 50 men. When I engage the enemy, Bayer, Bornhalds said slowly, you will not take part. You will watch from a distance, and you will carry word to my son of what happens. But my lord captain, that is my order, child Bayer, he snapped. As you command, my lord captain. But it would be better to give him another reason than letting Dane know how his father had died. It was not as if he did not have knowledge that was urgently needed in Amador. Since that skirmish with the Aes Sedai, was it one of them or both? 30 Shan-Chan soldiers.
It's funny that he's the first person to kind of suss it out. That they both can kind of channel.
Since then, he no longer expected to live to leave Toman Head. In the small chance the Shan-Chan did not see to it, very likely the questioners would. When you have found my son, he should be with Lord Captain Eamon Valda near Tarvalin, and told him, you will ride to Amador and report to the Lord Captain Commander, to Pedron Nile personally, Chalbire.
Oh, sorry. Pedron Nile is the Lord Captain. Jeff from Bornhalds, like, up there.
I will write it out for you. Be sure he understands that we can no longer count on the Tarvalin witches being content with manipulating events from the shadows.
That right there is that's the kind of the main reason of this clip. It shows how they feel about Tarvalin, and that's what they've based their whole, and like their stronghold is in a place called Amador. It has its own monarchy kind of, but they are basically the ruling faction, if not stronger than the monarchy, they're at least equally as powerful. And the monarchy kind of doesn't fuck with them. It's like, mess with the church, type of thing almost. But the fact that he's like, the witches, they're using the power as a weapon, and he's kind of sussed something out that's kind of a big secret, kind of accidentally, but then he's also really missing the point too. It's like, these people take Aes Sedai prisoner, and they can actually force them to break their oaths because of they have to do whatever they say because they control them.
Okay, so the White Cloaks don't understand the Shan-Chan are different than Aes Sedai.
They don't. They think they're one and the same. And so he's sending this guy. He's like, you're going to watch us get annihilated. And then you're going to go tell the rest of the children of the light, including my son, to we got to redouble the fight, because the witches are no longer just manipulating rulers from the shadows. They're going to take power, and they're going to, take over. And they're really showing their true evil. And he's totally wrong, because Aes Sedai you see Aes Sedai are fucking afraid of the Shan-Chan.
Yeah.
For good reason too, because they don't play. They have a certain view of the power and how it's supposed to be used and how people who can channel are supposed to be treated. But what they don't realize is that it's like,
do individual Shan-Chan, do they like go out on missions, or are they all a hive mind?
It's not a hive mind. It's so they are, without getting into it too much, they are Archer Hawkwing's armies that he sent across the oceans because he had conquered the land where we are now. He had brought them all under one rule, under his banner, and he's like, now go forth and conquer Romans, type of thing. He sends like 2 of his heirs, and they never come back until now.
So they're so brainwashed that the Shan-Chan are just, they're out doing his bidding all the time, not just when they're being mind manipulated.
They're not even mind manipulated. It's just they left, and when they took off, the mindset of Archer Hawkwing was Ishmael was in his ear. He did not trust the Aes Sedai. He did not trust people who channel. And so that way of thinking evolved into what the Shan-Chan are now, taking people prisoners, very harsh military rule, but their lands prosper. It's like empire style. It's like, well, if you just overlook the slavery and, like the really harsh way they deal with rule breakers and their weird, hierarchy of blood people. Cause it's like, it's considered like if people try to assassinate you and you're a ruler in Shan-Chan, it's like, you're doing a good job.
Oh,
like if your closest confidants don't try to assassinate you, it's like rule of 2 shit with the Sith almost.
Yeah.
It's like if they don't try to assassinate you, they're just going to take your power because no one fucking listens to you anyway.
God, fucking.
So I don't really think we need any more of that clip at this point. I just wanted to see. So the people who are mentioned in this, they do mention Eamon Valda, because he's like, oh, the questioners are going to get me if I don't die here because of, I can't remember why. I don't even remember why. It's some White Cloak dumb stuff. The connection to Perrin, what was his name? It's like, Perrin's connection to the White Cloaks is so deep, man. I guess, it's like, yeah, they cause a lot of pain and destruction. You hear the name Dane, that's Jeffrey Bornhalds' son. And he ends up commanding the White Cloaks that go to the 2 rivers looking for the dragon and Perrin. Because they heard that's where he's from, and they start and guess who's with them when they go back? He calls himself a different name, but it's Padan Fain.
Oh,
and he's become something different at this point because he is dedicated to the shadow. He held the dagger for a while, so he carries part of the taint of Shadar Logoth with him, and he starts to infect the White Cloaks that are around the 2 rivers. The point, like, their cloaks are dirty, they're drinking all the time, they're not shaving, because he's starting to infect them. But because he has that, Shadar Logoth was living in the light. They were just so paranoid of the shadow that they turned on each other. So now he's got that, and he's dedicated to the shadow. So he's this like double side of coin of shittiness that just manipulates people. And he hates Rand, and he hates Perrin, and he hates Matt because they've ruined his life, because the Dark One just set him on their trail.
So it says it was this where you might have been talking, this might be a bad translation. Hate for golden eyes, was that supposed to be Aes Sedai?
What's that?
Eamon Valda's hate for golden eyes.
Perrin is golden eyes.
Oh,
because his eyes turn yellow.
Oh, that's
he starts
right.
his nickname, Battle Champ. People start, like, he does some shit, and they basically kind of the proverbial like hero moment, golden eyes, golden eyes, golden eyes. And he ends up fighting under a wolf head banner that someone just makes for him. And he's like, well, hide it. Perrin is like the least like look at me guy ever. He just wants to do what's right.
We got to get that banner in one of our logos or a piece of merch.
What? Which part?
The his banner.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Golden Eyes
sure.
banner.
Yeah, 100%. So like I said, Eamon Valda, and like I think what's scary about Eamon Valda is that he thinks he's a good guy and he's fucking not.
So are the Seanchan actually, are they aggressive toward White Cloaks, or are they just like, since the White Cloaks want to fuck with them, they're fucking back?
The Seanchan are aggressive with anybody who wants beef, sucker. Like that's it. Like
okay.
If you, hey, you're gonna bow down? Nope. Okay, we're gonna kill you until you do, and or you're all gone.
So the Seanchan just want to take over the land, and the White Cloaks are in their way.
I hate to use a Star Wars reference, but they're very Empire-esque. It's just like it's our way or the highway. You don't fucking like it?
Gone.
It's fucking spice mines for you, buddy.
Yeah.
So Jarrett Beyer is another guy. He's like Jeff from Bornhalds, like clerk, right-hand man. It's funny because he has a pretty big hate with Podon Fane's kind of like Mordeth Ordeeth is the name he goes by. He really starts to make them fucking hate the people of the Two Rivers and just, you're all dark friends. And they're just like, fuck you, dude. No, we're not. Come get some. The Emonsfield people, like, remember when they're stabbing the Trollocs on Winter Night? Like the one chick, she's all, come on, and then like stabs him with the pitchfork.
Yeah.
Like, the Emonsfield people don't play, dude. They're tough.
So I know you're repeating yourself a little bit, but as the more I listen, the more I actually find things to grasp onto. Podon Fane, I know he's not actually a White Cloak, but is he I might be spoiling something myself. The White Cloaks obviously have an order that they live by. Is Podon Fane the guy that will do the dirty work that's a White Cloak technically can't do?
Yes and no. I'm going to use the word informant here.
Oh, there we go.
Like, I know what you need to do. And then he'll go do some fucking dirty shit. And the White Cloaks look the other way because they want him to, like, I can't say anymore or I will spoil some really fucking like. All I'm going to say, anyone who's a book reader, apple blossoms. I'm sorry. But that's about it for this one. I just, I think it was important to kind of
So real quick, oh no, that one. Oh, does Perrin, is it like, again, sorry everybody for calling on all other, fantasy stuff. Just so, yeah, I guess so. I shouldn't. This is what we do, people. If you hate that we bring up other things in order to make sense out of this, then I'm sorry.
Not sorry.
Is it like Game of Thrones style where he like sees through the wolves' eyes, or are the wolves just communicating to him what they see?
Oh, fucking great question. I think at a certain point he can kind of, because there is another person who's a wolf brother type. And you can also do it with the true power is you can kind of look through animals' eyes. That some of the bad guys use the power to look through like Raven's eyes, I believe.
Yes.
Unless I'm confusing my stories at a certain point. But they will use a true power and be inside of a bird flying to look at the battlefield or something like that. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. So I should probably research that.
No, I think you're right because,
the Dark One sees with rats and stuff like that. They're spies, and ravens especially.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, I think Perrin can basically look through the wolf's eyes because he's getting kind of like the way they interpret the world as visions, and he has, like, you can tell in that he's kind of like, we had to go through, like, I had to sweat through the introductions to how to describe myself and send my scent and like.
Yeah. So it could be that he's actually seeing through them, or it could be that he's so good at translating what he hears from them that it's just as good.
Well, and he's not that good right now. He gets so good that eventually it's like, hey, show me what you see. And they're like,
yeah,
type of thing. Not so much not like Bran where he can like control the birds and the wolves and stuff like that. It's not like that in Game of Thrones. No, it's a little different, but.
All right. Did you read from the Bible?
No, I was just going to kind of like skim it because it's kind of long. So they started out as being kind of like preachers. That's why they kind of have a religious feel to them. They don't like being called white cloaks.
Oh.
They are the children of the light. White cloak is very much like a derogatory term. So they started to preach like, oh, we gotta preach people against the dark, get them to turn away and stop being dark friends. And then they eventually just started fucking killing people or torturing confessions out of them, and stuff like that. Their purpose, is we're here to, for the last, a lot of people are, last battle, we're here to protect against the light. And then they use it, like I guess the real world, under the guise of good things, they do some nefarious shit. It's like the message gets twisted,
Is the last battle a known thing from like immediately from the breaking of the world, or is the last battle something that as people survive the breaking, they realize the only way to fix it is to fucking have this out on the battlefield?
You son of a bitch. You understood the assignment. Yes, basically. It's like, I don't know if it's something that's like, well, we're going to have to do this again in 3,000 years. I don't think that's it. It's more like a lot of Aes Sedai would have foretellings. The Aiel are dreamwalkers, which there's a certain amount of like future clairvoyance that goes on. It's all about interpretation. Same with the wolves. It's called the wolf dream. It's the Tel and Riad. It's all the same thing.
Okay.
In that sense, like, God, that's just a really good question. I think it's something they kind of come to over the first like 1,000 years. It's like, this isn't a one-off. Like, this is going to be an ongoing struggle through generations. And each generation, I think, like, they've had the Trolloc Wars. They've had several different like markings of time by these gigantic events. And, now this last battle, I believe the last battle probably takes place over a month or so, maybe longer.
Whew.
Maybe 2-3 months. It's hard because it starts in like, Rand really starts like, I think they even say in one of the like books 9 or 10, it's like, it's begun. The final
Jesus.
the final chapters are happening, and it's kind of starts when damn it, I can't say it.
Yes.
Let's just say Rand washes his taint real good. Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. I'm just going through the children of the light. They evolved into being warriors, and then they kind of started getting these groups in the hand of the light. They have spy people too. They definitely have a more military structure, but they definitely look at the world through like kind of almost a religious zealot's eyes, and they definitely don't like people who channel. And like I said, even a lot of the children of the light are actually a little afraid of the questioners because of the power. No one is really allowed to kind of say no to them. It's like when you were a witch. Oh, well, she burned. I guess she's not a witch. And it's like, well, if I guess she drowned. She's not a witch. It's like, well, that's not a real good way to prove stuff because it's silly. We know better than that now. And they definitely have this kind of like torture. We're gonna torture you till you torture a guy. I'll tell you, he fucking started the goddamn Chicago fire. We talked about this.
That doesn't necessarily make it fucking so.
Exactly, Chris Penn. Like this little dab for you. That's pretty much it, bro. Just wanted to bring the children of the light because I do feel, actually I started thinking about it, I feel like we're going to get a lot of them second season.
Yeah.
They're pretty integral to the story, especially now. They kind of fade to the background a little bit. They're still doing shit, but it's just there's so much stuff going on. You kind of like, there's some stuff with the Forsaken, and there's some stuff with the Children of the Light and the Queen of Andor, and like I don't know how much of that we'll get in the show because while it's important, it's still kind of like extraneous. You can cover it with a conversation or a letter or 2 things and like knock it out.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important because they really are freaked out that people are using the power in battle, and it just confirms everything they've known about the witches. And it's just like, shut up.
Do you think for a minute Robert Jordan was going to write a really strong trilogy, and then like, as he talked about that, like, did he know this was going to be at least 10 books from the get-go? Because the first 3 books are so dense, and does seem to be a pretty major battle at the end of book 3. Like, do you think part of him thought about wrapping it up, but then was like, oh, these are popular, I can, keep writing these?
I gotta say no.
Yeah.
Because once you get through book 3, you'll start thinking back on Lanfear, Samael, Moghedin, Semirij, and they haven't even touched these characters. They haven't even been introduced. Demandred is one of the most important Forsaken. I'm gonna say he doesn't make an appearance till the second to last book. I mean, he has a couple of them, but you don't know who he is. But for
Holy
him
shit.
to really, you don't even know what part of the world he's in until he just shows up with all his fucking people fucking shit up. Last battle, let's go. And so, it's crazy. And it's funny because they set up, I gotta say, he planned it to be at least like 7 or 8 books, because the way he set things up, there's too many factions that are kind of, we're here, you're a bad guy, and they're finally kind of go, okay, there's one fucking bad guy.
Oh.
And we gotta go that way. And so everybody kind of, hey, fucking the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I don't like you, but we'll fucking hash this shit after, cracks stop appearing in the ground and swallowing people up and shit like that. And Trollocs aren't fucking running around eating people everywhere. They're like, we'll figure that out later. Still got beef with you, bro, but
Holy shit. So good. So awesome. Book stuff. I am so the biggest, craziest thing that's happened in the book is Matt and Rand becoming Gleeman.
oh yeah. How's that? Motherfucker plays the flute and the harp. Rand is a musical fella. So is Matt, but Rand's a guy. Like Rand can do shit.
It's crazy. Like, so anyone out there who's just watching the show, like Tom shows up much. Does Tom leave with them from the Two Rivers?
Yeah, he shows up at the Two Rivers right before everything happens, and he's with them originally from the get-go.
Yeah, so he's with the whole group, and then he gets split up, and he's just with Matt and Rand, and those are the 3 that end up on the boat with Bail Doman.
Are they still together?
They're still together. It's not for, I can tell it's not for long. Like, I'm like, they just broke out. So yeah, so I'm
I'll spoil you. He doesn't die.
Wow. You're a dick. Oh no, Tom. Yeah, no, Tom's gone.
Tom doesn't die.
Tom's gone. Yeah, I think I got that from the show, because in the show they don't pretend he's dead at all, right?
You called it when you saw the show. You're like, it's like any TV thing. If you didn't see them fucking die,
yeah,
they're probably not dead. So, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
And so I think I just heard the book version. So in the show, when they go to the town and the bartender fucks them over,
right?
Like in the book, it's like the whole town that, like, unless there's another version of this.
It's the one guy that the goad guy shows up, but he's got like bodyguards and he's got some pull. I don't know if they know that they're all kind of working for the Dark One, but that guy certainly the fuck is.
Okay.
Because it's like same sort of thing, it's like, oh, they told me who you were in a dream, and I don't know why he wants you, but I was made very clear that I'm not supposed to let you go get away.
Because Rand did the thing where they were trapped, and then he blacked out, and they weren't trapped anymore. And so that's
the lightning struck, I guess. Yeah, well, I mean,
technically it did, the lightning, because they kept talking about lightning because there was a storm going on. So I didn't notice when the actual lightning turned into Rand's.
Well, and I think another clue with the lightning is, like, I think Matt's eyes get, like, he has to wear like a bandage over his eyes because he almost gets blinded by it.
Is that the one? Well, because
is that what happened?
Well, I thought it was Matt that had the fucked up eyes. Was it the other way around?
No, Matt had the fucked up eyes because Rand channeled that lightning, so it didn't bother him.
Oh, but it blinded Matt, and Matt's already fucked up too. Like, the dagger is fucking Matt up big time.
Yeah, dude.
Every town they go to, everyone's like, dude, that dude's fucked.
Yeah, it's like when you see Tom, the horse is freaking out in the show, and then he gets to Tarvala and he kind of tries to stab Moraine. Like, he's descending into that right now.
Yeah, and he looks like shit, and he's being weird and shifty, and yeah.
They'll like, Randall get him a place to stay, and then they kick him out.
Yeah, totally. Like, never mind. Here's your stuff.
Thanks for working. Take your dinner and go.
So then, so in the book, again, like, of all the stuff that they spend 10 chapters on, in like 4 paragraphs, Tom, Matt, and Rand hit like 10 villages. No, it's on the boat. It's on the boat where Tom really gets a chance to, like, on Bail Doman's boat. That's where he really gets a chance to teach him because that's their cover when they're on the boat.
Yeah.
Is that no, these are my gleeman novices. We're just traveling around. I'm showing them the ropes.
I'm pretty sure our boy Bale ain't buying that fucking nonsense.
Yeah.
He's too smart for that shit. He's like, yeah, right. These guys can't play the harp.
So Tom gets lost, and so Matt and Rand are making their way towards Tarvalin by being gleeman in these towns and doing a pretty. Unfortunately, they're also beacons because they've got the stench of dragon and knives all over them.
Well, and Taviran too. That's like
Taviran, yeah.
That's one of the things Rand actually, when he takes off by himself, kind of just going insane. That clip where he kills last couple episodes ago, where the merchants come on him in the middle of the night. He stops at a town and plays the harp, or he plays something for a bunch of people get married. Like everyone in the town who's not married gets married. It's like it's crazy. But then like the next town he goes to, like a huge fire breaks out and a bunch of people die. So it's like he affects the world like crazy every place he goes, good, bad. Like it's insane. And just you feel bad for Rand because he's just poor guy.
Such a nice guy.
And that fucking clip was boring compared to next episode. Let's go.
All right. Thank you for listening to this episode of Thank the Light. If you would like to, first of all, find Fat. Well, I'm kind of there too, but Fatty's going to be your main person. If you go to Twitter, Wolf Brothers @ParchedAilman. That is Wolf Brothers @ParchedAilman on the Bird app.
Okay.
If you want to directly contact us with some things that you'd want to talk about or some ideas you have, deep dives you want to do us on characters, maybe there's a chapter. Maybe you're like, dude, I know you guys are eating up books 1, 2, and 3, but check out this. You got to play this chapter from book 4 or 5, whatever. We'd love to talk about it. Hit us up at thankthelight@gmail.com. That is thankthelight@gmail.com. If you're into podcasts, and I think you are, head over to whatsoundsawesome.com. That is whatsoundsawesome.com, or wherever you find free shows. And people, I'm telling you, go open up your podcast app, search for All the Answers, and listen to episode 105, Potentiality. Episode 105, All the Answers. This woman is going to teach you how to be a wolf brother.
Oh, is that the one you were talking about? Dude, I got to listen to that one.
It's so great. So All the Answers is a great show. Comedy, spirituality, all kinds of awesome people. This woman, their guest on the last one, can communicate with animals, and she basically teaches you how to do it. If you're down, you got to be open-minded, and you got to be patient.
I'm so open-minded. I'm doing it.
And if you just want to goof off, check out Time Travel Movies on Time Pop. We have, what have we talked about recently? We did some weird shit. Time Crimes, a nice Spanish film.
Apparently that was really good. I remember fucking Dave Hercules told me about Buchanan.
That makes total. Oh, The Map of Tiny Perfect Things was their most recent one, which I just loved watching. That was a great, fun movie.
Actually, you told me about that.
On the time travel, but it's a Groundhog's Day type thing. Really great. The Adam Project, Frequency, Harry Potter, Prisoner of Azkaban. People, we got it.
That's right, because they have the little thing in Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yep, the little.
Oh, Hermione.
Exactly. Fucking just. Oh, I think we already talked about it on the podcast. Yeah.
Hermione. Who's Hermione?
Hermione. If you want to get yourself in shape, head on over to Truth Not Trends. They will give you some fitness and nutrition advice. Practical, good conversations, amazing guests. It's a lot of fun. Check out Truth Not Trends. And if you want to listen to some badass women, they're not wizards, but they're badass women. Head on over to the Be Brave podcast. They are fantastic. So again, you can find all those great shows at whatsoundsawesome.com. May you always find water and shade.
It's free, but Usquai costs money. Or Maiden's Kiss, they'll buy you drinks.
Ooh, yes, sir. I was totally thinking about like, oh my God, like if we, do this show for a decade, like I can't wait for the tattoo challenge.
No, dude. Okay. Yeah, actually, I forgot. Jeremy texts me. I'm like driving to work or something. And he's like, fuck the Patreon, bro. I'll pay for the tattoo. I'm like, my response was, what tattoo are you talking about? He's like, do you not listen to what you fucking say? What episode are you talking about? He's like, the most recent one. And then I was like, oh, shit. He's just like, oh, My wife Lisa's like, oh, you fucked up, buddy. That's gonna be live someday. You better get ready. I'm like, oh no.
You're like, Desmond didn't cut that out? I'm like, fuck no. That's our new soundbite. That's our promo.
You son of a bitch.
I don't want to offend anyone, but fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
Mixed and edited by Desmond McNeese for We Mixed It, LLC. Go to whatsoundsawesome.com. Oh, god damn it.